your question, talking about that we got liberated together. We got independence from British India.
Yes.
You started from 1947. If you recall 1952, we wanted Bengali to be our national language, because although we were both Muslims, both the nations were Muslims, there were language barriers. East Pakistan was a Bengali majority. West Pakistan was a majority of Urdu speaking, non-Bengali speaking. There were Urdu and Punjabi and some other languages. So language was a big bonding for us. Although religion was bonding, language also became a big bonding, for which we got liberated in 1971, when, despite the fact that East Pakistan got a majority, a sweeping victory in the elections, they were not allowed to form the government. Instead, the central government took actions against East Pakistan, and there was mass killing, and, as you know, the liberation war, and we were independent. So Bangladesh is a country which was always intellectually very enlightened. We have committed people. We have people who have given their lives for the sake of the country. There was so many. There was women, Priti Lata. They have been in Chittagong, who have fought battles during the partition days. And so it has a very rich cultural heritage. And the success behind education is the commitment, firstly the commitment of the government, and then the commitment of the civil society. Since the Dhaka Declaration in Jomtien and the Jomtien Declaration of IFA, Education for All, the civil society just did not sit back and wait for the government to deliver. The civil society also realized that it was not possible for government alone to do anything. It had to be the civil society's responsibility to take on and tell people that you got to send your children to school. Back in 1971, when Bangladesh was liberated, the literacy rate was very poor, barely 14 to 15%, very, very poor. Hardly people knew how to read and write. And it was at that point of time, when rehabilitation work was being done, that it was realized that education is the key to getting to poverty reduction. So it's not just relief and rehabilitation and reconstruction. We had to get people educated. We had to deliver literacy. And so the night schools began with lanterns. People, in people's courtyard, lessons were started being delivered. But that didn't last. Each of these changes in the government, the strategies changed. But nevertheless, all these governments, the military government and the elected democratic government, they did realize that education was important. Not for once did they dispute. They changed, okay, this was a policy, this was the, so-and-so was the education minister. The next government came and changed the entire lock stock. The minister, the secretaries, everybody was changed. Those things happened. Bureaucracy, those kind of things happened. But the commitment, the thing that we have to deliver, we have to do something about education, was always there. And currently the Awami League government is there now. They have come back after winning an election and with a massive victory. In their election manifesto, they had promised that they would ensure access to education for all. And we as the civil society has been at their back, trying to remind them every now and then, look, you have promised that in your election manifesto. People have voted you because they expect certain things to be delivered, and you got to do it. And education is one of the things that you have prioritized. So you have to do it. And the government has also, the education minister is a very dynamic person. I must appreciate Mr. Nurul Islam Nahi, the Honorable Education Minister, because he has been open to criticism, he has been open to suggestions, and there's been constant dialogues. Something that I felt in this discussions in Pakistan, that there is a gap. There is a big gap between the bureaucrats, the government, and the civil society. It's not accessible. Government is not accessible, or even if they do, they don't listen to what recommendations are coming up from the civil society on education. Because you know, when I was sitting around the last 2 days, and I told this to one of my friends there, that I mean, the people over there appeared to be like from the elite class.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
And one of my observation is that I was wondering how close are they to the grassroots people?
No.
So that's the difference. In Bangladesh, you know, we have very close connection with the grassroots people. We keep going to them. We keep talking to them. Whenever the government is trying to take a policy change, there's a policy change, we take the draft, we go on our own, we tell the government, we'll do this for you, we'll take it, disseminate it to the field, we'll go to the field, we'll share it with them, tell them what it is all about, get the feedback, and bring it to the government again, and tell them, okay, this is how the people feel about it, what do you think? So, you know, we have established, it has taken a long time. We've been tolerant, we've tried, you know, to go, we have never been at loggerheads with the government. We've been critical. In 1990, when the first Education Watch report was published, the government was not happy because the government had claimed that they had 65% literacy, and we said, no, it was far below. People signing a name was not being literate. They had to write, they had to read, they had to be, they should be able to at least, you know, do some mathematics, simple arithmetic. If they don't have those kind of competencies, they, you know, you can't call them literate. The government was very unhappy about it, but they realized, they accepted, deep down they accepted. On all these, we have published 10 Education Watch reports so far. In all the launching of these Education Watch reports, whether they liked it or they didn't like it, the education minister, the secretaries were present. We made sure that you have to be there. This is an independent research. These are the findings. You are welcome to dispute, but you must hear us out. So that's how we, you know, we gradually established a kind of a dialogue with the government. You'll be very happy to know that the national education policy has incorporated about 80% of the recommendations that have been brought up by the Education Watch reports. That is, I think, a huge success for us.
Education Watch report was done by?
We are the Campaign for Popular Education. Campaign is the secretariat for the Education Watch. And Education Watch group is a group of researchers and academians who work independently. They have a very participatory process of getting together and deciding on the theme, and then gradually moving on into developing the tools and piloting it, coming back. It's a very participatory process. And even before the final sharing, we do share. We are quite happy to share it with the government. We are open to criticism. That's why we call it the evidence-based, you know, advocacy. And the other thing, we have a social trend also, which contributes to this, that whether you do well or not, our children has to go to to universities, whether they're doing well or not. Because it's socially unacceptable that, you know, so-and-so's son has not been to a university, is not graduate. Okay. So that those cultural and social things work. And so there is a, you know, queue in front of these substandard private universities. There is not much of monitoring there. The primary, and we have a Ministry of Primary and Mass Education. They are the ones who look after the ECCD and the primary level. We have the Ministry of Education, who looks after the higher secondary, and the University Grants Commission, of course, looks after the. So far, we have not. There have been initiatives.